Hello and welcome to another episode of Evolve by Erica, the podcast. I am Erica Polsonelli, your host, and we are here to talk about all things spirituality, meditation, health, wellness, 5D consciousness, Kundalini, and beyond. So come on in. Hi guys, and welcome back for another episode. This is a solo episode where we get to catch up and I get to share with you what is on my mind. And I've had a lot on my mind lately after the abundance and manifestation portal known as the Lionsgate portal 8/8. And I'm definitely feeling a lot of growth, a lot of activations post that portal. So I don't know if you can relate to this, but I'm going to share my experience over the summer and we'll take it from there. And I'll tell you some things that have messages that have been coming through to me post portal. So the beginning of the summer is my favorite season, as you probably know if you know me. And the beginning of the summer always starts off a little rough. Cancer season is really emotional. It's heavy. It's deep. I remember just walking into stores and there being a song on and I would start hysterically crying out of nowhere. That kind of sums up like how I felt during Cancer season. It was heavy. And sometimes that just happens. No matter how much work we're doing, we're just feeling the feels in our feelings. And that's really what I felt throughout that. And then Leo season comes and we start to feel so optimistic and powerful and confident and very aligned to our purpose. And I'm a Leo rising, so this could be different for you than it is for me, but I freaking love Leo energy. And then we had the portal, the Lionsgate portal, which is a really powerful time. I did an episode about that. You can refer back to it, but it's a really powerful time for manifestation. Everything is heightened during that time period, and we spend time going deep in meditation, being on our best spiritual behavior, doing all the things. And the weeks following, you really start to feel the activations and you start to feel a lot come through from the seeds that you've been planting during that portal. And what I've been feeling over the past few weeks and the end of August is, I can't believe it's the end of August while I'm recording this. This month went so quickly. But what I'm feeling now as we're entering Virgo season is, I guess, growing pains in a way, but it's not painful because we have the stamina for it. So I don't want to use the word pain, but just awareness. That's what I'm going to use because that's truly what it is. Awareness around behaviors, habits, lifestyle that no longer serves me. Because I shared this in a meditation that we did this morning. We continue to make decisions each day based off the person that we were in the past and the day before. So we create habits around what we need in the now moment. And then those habits stay with us into the future because we're creatures of habit. So we're like, oh, I've always done this. So I'm just going to continue doing this because that's what I've always done and that's what I always do. So it must be okay for me. And I want to stop you right there because I think that's what holds a lot of us back, especially when we're on this ascension journey, guys, and especially if we don't have a lot of people in our close circle that's on this journey and understands energy. So we can start to feel very different than the people around us. We could start to require a lot of different things than the people around us. We may begin to not be able to tolerate a lot of what other people can who aren't necessarily on this quote unquote spiritual journey or this journey of ascension. And I think we all are in our own ways, but when you're practicing Kundalini, you guys know it's the express train, as I've shared before. So I think it's so important for you to hear this and for me to tell you that there are things you are outgrowing in this moment. And if for a moment you have this initial thought like, ooh, maybe this isn't good for me anymore, or maybe this no longer serves me. I guarantee the ego in about a few seconds shortly after that, the ego is going to chime in and say, no, 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 it's safe. You know that it's safe. You've done it before. It's comfortable. Stay here. Stay here. Don't make things challenging for the both of us. Don't try to grow beyond this point. Just stay here. Keep doing what you've been doing. I want you to listen to that initial voice. I want you to honor it. I want you to realize how incredibly tuned in you are to your own intuition and to your body and to this source energy, to divine wisdom and information. You are. If you're listening to this podcast, if you have your morning practice, you are that powerful. I can promise you that. And I just want you to know that, because we could start to look around and say, oh, well, so-and-so does this all the time and it's okay for so-and-so. So of course it's okay for me. I've been doing this for this amount of time and it was okay for me then. So it's okay for me now. No. Those are thoughts that are keeping us in the same patterns and behaviors of the past. And if we stay in the same patterns and behaviors of the past, we will just continue to recreate the past. And if you're happy with your past, go on, keep doing it. But if you're looking for growth, if you're looking for a change in trajectory of your life, if you're looking to step into your dharma and destiny, those are the changes that we have to make. So I'm going to tell a little story, and you probably heard this story before, but I want to use it in this context. Every single night I would drink wine. Every single night, because I had anxiety. I didn't have coping skills for my anxiety. So what did I do? I drank wine every night because it finally brought me to a place of what felt normal. And one night I cooked dinner. I sat down, I ate dinner, and I said, Erica, you don't have a glass of wine with you. So I said, Erica, get up and get your glass of wine. This is what you do every day. Go have your glass of wine. You're going to enjoy your night a lot more. You know how it goes. You'll feel calmer. You'll feel better. So I got up. That was the ego that slept in. My intuition was like, oh, you're good. You're safe to have this meal without any wine. My ego then slipped in, said, get up, go, do what you usually do. Don't change. Stay the same. So I got up, I poured myself a glass of wine, I took a sip of it, and I said, wow, this tastes different. I no longer need this. And if I had listened to my ego, and you know what? I may have drank that glass of wine that night, but my intuition said to me, like, this really is not something you need any longer. And I could have listened to my ego. I could have looked around and said, this person has a glass of wine every night. This is just what people do. This is what I do, and stayed in that. But my intuition became very strong because I've had my morning practice and I've been tuning in every day, and it grew to be strong enough to point this out about myself. It grew to be strong enough to give me awareness, give me this objective view over myself, to be able to see my habits and my patterns and to be able to create new ones. And that's what it really brings. So I share this example because I think it's an important one, but this is not about drinking. For me, this is coming up in a lot of other ways because, as you know, I really don't drink. This could be about anything. This could be about the food that you're eating, the morning drink that you're having. This could be about a habit you do each and every day, or a practice you do each and every day. And it's just, what this really is a reminder that you have intuition, you have a really strong inner guidance system. And if you're practicing, the practice really helps to strengthen that. Along with the food we eat, the things that we do, that can all interfere with our guidance system. And if your guidance system is telling you something, it's important to know that, first of all, yes, it is a message. And second, why don't you try to follow that and see where it leads to? Because by creating these new habits and patterns, we're creating a different trajectory for our future. So I want you to listen to yourself. I want you to tune in to that immediate initial feeling. That's your intuition. The ego creeps in later. So when you have that initial feeling, and you hear it, maybe you hear it in your mind or you feel it in your body, I want you to lean into that and say, that is my intuition. And that is a wonderful way to start training yourself to be able to recognize what is your intuition. So an exercise, and this is just coming through right now to me, which I'm very grateful for, and I thank Divine for guiding me this way. So I want you to start recognizing those feelings, those initial feelings you have, and say, ooh, you could be my intuition. Maybe you're not certain. Maybe you're not 100% sure to say, oh, that's my intuition speaking. But maybe you could just open up the possibility that your intuition is activated and say, ooh, you could be my intuition. And then from there, watch where your mind wants to go. Allow yourself to then recognize your ego. Oh, that's my ego creeping in. Anytime we're thinking from a fear-based mindset, that's typically ego. Ego doesn't like the uncomfortable or the unknown. So allow yourself to start to train yourself. Oh, you might be my intuition. Ooh, you might be my ego. And the more you practice this, the more objective you become, and the more power you have over your mind and your thoughts, the more power you have to choose or make the decision you want to make. So a lot of the things that make our decision, there are a few things, but our past self, the conditioning we've been under, the patterns and behaviors we already have created, societal conditioning from the world, the frequency that's being vibrated throughout the earth. Maybe it's the voice in our head. It might be our mom's voice, our dad's voice, someone else who raised us, their voice telling us what we should do in a moment, how we should live in a moment, and allow yourself to start to recognize your voice. And I can clearly recognize sometimes. I'd be like, oh, that was my mom speaking. And I'll say that out loud to Vinny. Sometimes with the reaction, I'd be like, I'm sorry. I think that was my mother, or I'm sorry. I think that was my father, or I'm sorry. That's a limiting belief that I've been holding on to because of society and what society feels how I should live, or et cetera, et cetera. You can start to be super objective. And when you're able to be, Satnam comes through, your truth, your identity, what is true for you. And it doesn't mean that whoever that voice is in our mind that's been overriding our voice is wrong, or that it's bad. Everyone has created their own beliefs based off of their experiences, the cards they've been dealt, their life path. So we recognize that with compassion and love. We recognize what is not ours with love and respect and empathy. And then we come back in alignment to choose what is truth for us and what is true to us. So by doing this, we start to break a lot of patterns and behaviors that have kept us small. We start to step into a whole different life path. If I hadn't gotten the download and the nudge to go plant-based, I would probably never be on the vibration to receive the healing I do from Kundalini. That doesn't mean that's for you. That was just what I needed to get me to where I need to be. If I didn't listen to my intuition through every really trippy, intense Kundalini meditation I've done, where I felt like literally my brain was activating, swelling, opening. I've had really wild Kundalini experiences, and I've shared before that I've always been pretty much a bug out. I love to be in control. I do not like feeling altered. But if I didn't listen to that voice that said, Erica, keep going, this is safe. Erica, keep going, you need to go there, and I let fear and my ego creep in, I probably wouldn't be living my purpose and my dharma and my truth. So intuition is just a really, really powerful tool, skill, sense that we have within us. And during this time, after the portal, I think we're all being asked to think about what can be ascended in our day-to-day life, because our day-to-day present moment is what's creating that future. So what are some things that are implemented in your life that are no longer serving you? Pressing snooze and waking up after sunset were some things that were keeping me really freaking small. And it's uncomfortable to wake up before sunrise. It's so comfy to stay in my bed and sleep and press snooze and wake up while the sun rises or after. But I know what brings me the most growth and connection to my inner self. So what are some day-to-day things in your life right now that might be keeping you small? What's your first little baby tiny action step that you're going to take to maybe even just gain the awareness over what I'm even talking about? Some of you might be listening being like, I have no idea. Like, I don't even know what you're saying. And that's okay. That's completely okay. And maybe your first step is just taking time to close your eyes each morning before you put your feet on the floor and think about 3 things you're grateful for. Okay. But what are those little baby steps that maybe you've been thinking about for a while, but just haven't taken action on? And I want you to just be aware and start to open up to that. Start to take those little steps and allow yourself to see where it leads you. I cannot recommend a meditation practice of Kundalini before sunrise enough, because it's bringing me all this awareness. And this is what happens when I carve out the time to go even deeper. And that's why my recent motto is earlier, longer, and deeper, because with those 3 things having to do with your practice, you are going to see change, and really, really positive, magical changes. So allow the universe to know that you're ready to become more aware. Allow yourself to receive, believe, and understand that you have a really powerful sense, which is called your intuition. And make a promise to yourself that you're going to start to listen to that more. You're going to start to be open to its suggestions a little bit more. And you're going to honor yourself and believe in yourself in that way. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this resonates with you. If you have any comments, I would love for you to visit the Instagram post where this trailer is posted and just share any of your experiences that you'd like to share lately having to do with this topic. If you would like some meditation suggestions around what we've spoken about, if you're listening like, yes, this is me, I ask you to type in intuition in the search bar of the app, and there are many meditations that will come up. Any of those would be perfect to enhance your meditation and your intuition a little bit deeper, as well as the meditation for your inner voice. You could type in inner voice. For some reason, I just always forget the title of that one, but it's meditation for inner voice. I always need a moment to recall it. I always want to say meditation for guidance. So those are some things that you can do to further activate what I'm sharing about today. And I thank you so much for being here. I thank you for being on this path of ascension for yourself, but for everyone that you're in contact with and the world. And once we start to be a little bit more aware of ourselves, our relationships change dramatically. So thank you for being here. Thank you from those who love you and for the frequency of the earth right now. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. May the long time sun shine upon you. Sat Nam.